Ron,
Hello.
how are you doing?
Not too bad. How are you getting on?
Good. Are you in Cork?
I am in Cork.
How was your lockdown?
Lockdown was productive, then not productive, then quite productive, then absolutely harrowing.
Ups and downs, yeah. I know. I know.
How was yours?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, same. Peaks and troughs of despair and production. Same.
Yeah.
How's Tristan?
How are you doing?
Good to see you.
You me okay, yeah?
Good, man. How are you?
How are you doing? How's everyone?
Good. Not too bad.
Good. Thanks, lads. Really appreciate this. For anybody that's joining us late, this is obviously to raise awareness for the Cork Film Festival, but also to raise some funds for the Children's Ambulance Service Bumbulance. So if you have a couple of minutes, head on over to the website or afterwards, and please donate whatever you can to people who do some incredible work for children. So yeah, thanks. We're just going to wait for Mia there. Yeah, great to chat to Brendan and over there, huh? Cool.
Oh yeah. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
you could listen to them all night. They're amazing filmmakers. So yeah,
you're on the dock fest then in Belfast.
Yeah.
Deadly.
Which hopefully, as I said, will be back next year. But yeah, they're up there. You know, they really mark themselves out internationally. They're real role models for what can be done in Irish documentary, and be very interested to see what they do entering the world of drama.
Yeah,
what they bring to it.
Yeah, the pitching advice was good. You know, just being
great.
Prepared.
Yeah, just learn. Yeah, don't second guess it. Just
so obvious, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I just improvised the pitch there, like. Yeah. It's about. I don't know actually.
Yeah. When you see it happen, it's like a car crash in slow motion. When someone thinks, "Oh, I know this project inside out, I can wing it," and then if you have 50 people staring at you, it's a whole different ball game. Your leg starts twitching, your mind goes blank, and it's
one of the worst.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
We just have Roche in there on the right saying that Cork will be partnering with Docs Ireland on Doc Day this year, so keep an eye out for that on the websites and stuff.
Very cool.
Very good. Yeah, so guys, as usual, if you want to ask some questions there, we're just kind of hanging on there and killing a bit of time, just waiting for Mia. If you got any questions, he's a big
hello everyone.
Hello everyone.
Emma Fagan.
All the gang.
Have you guys been kind of taking advantage of all this extra content that has been happening? One of the plus sides with the slowdown, I guess, you know, is have you guys seen anything or kind of watched any webinars that have been useful?
Yeah, the screen director stuff has been great. Screen skills Ireland stuff has been excellent. I was inhaling it at the very beginning, like I was kind of going to everything, like, you know, I kind of found after a while, just with especially kind of doing other meetings and stuff, I kind of got a little bit zoomed out, and I kind of had to actively reduce my screen time, you know. But still been trying to attend as much of those things as possible. But they've been excellent. Like, I mean, the screen directors stepped up their game big time in terms of just having stuff on every week, like, you know.
Big shout out to Frank Berry there, who just joined us there on the right hand side.
Oh, hi, Frank.
Chat, so.
Oh, Frank.
Zoomed out. That is that kind of sums it up a bit.
Yeah, I zoomed out.
It is a necessary evil, and a way that we will have to be working in the future. I mean, it will be integrated, and people will be doing more Zoom calls instead of going for meetings. They just will, you know. So it's part of it. It's part of it. So I suppose we'll get the ball.
Hi, sorry guys.
Yeah,
I was in whatever the other room was. and I didn't know you took it out and went to a
You
different
were
room.
How many
Like-
no-mates?
I was alone in this
me,
dark
yeah.
room. I know.
Oh,
I know. I'm really glad to be here.
Woo.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic.
Good.
Grand.
have you? We were
So,
just
yeah.
talking there about kind of taking advantage of some of this, some of the good things that are coming out of this. Is there any other positives you've had from lockdown, Mia?
I'm doing a master's in screenwriting, and I sort of had managed to fool myself into thinking I was going to do loads of writing, and I didn't do anything. And then I think when the lockdown hit, I suddenly had loads of time. So that was great. It created a lot of
Welcome
time.
to the disco version.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I probably should have checked who's calling. Actually, it's Mumsy. She always calls at these kind of times.
Put her on. Put her on.
Will I? I think I probably missed her. Actually, no, she's gone. Sorry, guys. You'd like her. She's really fun. But yeah, no, the lockdown's been good. It's created space, I think, to think about everything I've been working on and focus on which parts or what kind of projects I need to really sit with. And so you have to evaluate where you're at, because suddenly the whole world has stopped. So it's kind of a nice time to maybe figure out where you're going, because sometimes you just keep working and you keep like making things happen as best you can to get by, and then you get a chance to kind of go, wait a minute, what do I really want to make and what can I drop? So it's been good just to really evaluate like the future, I suppose.
You've that many projects?
They're all in my head.
Throw some my way.
I mean, no, well, I'm like, for me, I'm sort of between documentary and drama right now. So I'm kind of trying to juggle like my energy, as in which, you know, they take such different approaches. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, writing is a whole new thing for me. So I'm trying to get my head around that. Whereas documentary, you get to go out and just meet people and sort of, you know, try and capture the world as it unfolds in front of you. Whereas writing, it's like you're trying to, you know, create the world up here. So it's all in my head, not like
the best place for them. They're safe there.
I've kind of lost Paul and Tristan.
We're here.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So as we're focusing on shorts, we'll kind of maybe go around. And shorts are this funny thing I talk about a lot, that we don't really grow up watching shorts. It's not. I've never met a filmmaker who said, "Oh yeah, I only want to make shorts," or they're, you know. But we do love them, and when we see one that works, there's nothing quite like it. How do you guys think about your shorts? And I know we'll be talking about how you make the leap from, which we all want to do, is leap from shorts to features. But what is it that makes a great short for you, and what are you trying to do with your shorts? Whoever wants to go first.
Somebody else go.
Me,
Tristan, I think.
I forget the question.
I was zoning out.
Okay, well, what makes
He's
a
watching
good short for you? Yeah.
Yeah. Match, I bet you.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Yes, he is.
You zoomed out.
He's in there.
So you're kind of saying we don't grow up watching shorts, but it's what you start out doing as a director, and what is it that makes a good short? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you approach a short as opposed to, it's a different beast to a feature?
Tristan, I'm putting the ball in your court.
Okay, well, I guess I haven't done a feature. I'm just kind of working on my first one at the moment, and it's very early, so I can't that's a totally new territory at the moment for me. With regards shorts, I kind of like, what makes a good one has taken quite a long time. I think it takes you a few before you can really understand sometimes what's supposed to happen in them. I think when I made my first short, I had no clue what a short was supposed to contain, or what should happen in a short, or what made a good short. I had no idea how to write when I just wrote it on an A4 pad, and I had no idea. And now I'm now I think, you know, what makes a good one, there needs to be, I don't know, I always try to focus on a change, a character that's going through something, but there has to be a change within that, no matter how short a period, there has to be some kind of change. And it doesn't have to be always like so tied up at the end, but there's a little chink where by the end there's a decision for the character, or there's been a change in the ordeal they're going through, and it's kind of left up to you where you think that character will go afterwards. That's kind of always usually what I'm trying to do when I try to make a short, is to show characters going through something, and then something happens on a particular day when something particular happens, and then what, you know, it's kind of left usually up to your own thoughts as to where you think they go or what happens afterwards. That's usually what I try to put into a short when I'm thinking of it anyway. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, when I started out, I did a lot of comedy shorts, and they were basically kind of like, it's just like telling a joke, like, you know, it's like just set this thing up, and there's a good payoff, there's a good punchline, ideally, and then kind of moving into drama, it's like there's kind of some of those elements there, but kind of more so what you're talking about there as well, Tristan. But I remember reading that there's a lovely quote from Ray Bradbury where he says something like, the big mistake that this like novelists make is that, like, at 22 or something, they try to write the great American novel, and then when they don't, unless they're, you know, an absolute genius, they go like, oh, sure, feck it, like, I wasted my time, I haven't kind of, this isn't for me. Whereas, like, what he says is, like, you should be writing a short story every week, whether it gets published or not, but submit it everywhere, but keep working, and you will inevitably, like, discover and practice the form of writing chapters, like these short stories with short kind of character arcs, like, you know, in beginning, middle, and ends, and then the form of the larger piece will kind of start to come naturally to you. So so that's why I've made like 10 short films and no feature. Although, to be fair, I did
You put them all together,
and then you put them all together in a DVD box set and release it and hope nobody spots it, like. I did actually make a feature, though. The first thing I did was make a feature, this thing called the Grandmaster Cash Story, which was like basically me and some lads having a laugh, like, but it actually got into the Cork Film Festival. Thanks for that. And then kind of doing but even doing that, like shooting all the stuff, like shooting scenes, writing stuff as quickly as you can, was really good education for going into shorts. So it's just kind of practice, like, and as long as you're doing something in the form, it's good, like, you know.
I think when you're independent, you have to make shorts because it's a form of homeschooling, and you're not stepping into a studio system, and you don't have some institution to back you. So you're kind of, you know, you have to learn about cinematography, you have to learn how to work with actors, you have to learn how to shape a story, and shorts are a really nice way to do that. And there's still, you know, it's still a piece of work with integrity, but it's also a kind of homeschooling or a stepping stone. I'm like you, I mean, I've done loads of shorts at this stage, and I'm definitely ready to do a feature now. So I'm like, you know, working on bigger projects and getting things ready so that in the next couple of years, I'll do my first feature. So for me, like what you're saying, both of you is definitely right. You want to figure out that arc to sort of contain your story. And then obviously in a feature, there's more of the arc. There's kind of more of a roller coaster to the arc. But you're sort of working out, like, what is story? You know, what is the shape? What do you want to give to at the very end of your story that makes it meaningful and worthwhile and worth sitting through? And so I guess shorts act as that, as like a kind of springboard. And for me, one of the things I do every time I make a short, I tend to hate it for a while, and I write down a load of stuff about what I hate about it and what I've learned and all the mistakes I think I've made. And then the next time I make a short, I just read back and I felt didn't work. And I have a load of stuff up on my wall in my office now of, like, from the last short, and like, me, and never do this again, and like always do this. I have just a list of things so that I can keep growing, because I think that's really important, that like the next one's going to be better. The next one, I'm going to have more poetry. I'm going to get more of this quality that I've always wanted, or, you know, whatever it is. And that's like, I need that to motivate me as I go along as well. That there's a kind of, I'm getting closer to something I think is beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
You should never feel as if it's figured out.
Yeah.
God, it really does.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, story is such a beast.
Yeah.
And
to get your head around.
it's changing always.
Yeah, I might ask you individually. How do you actually put pen to paper? How do you write? How does it start? How does that process work for you?
I just get someone else to do it.
Great idea.
Yeah, it works too. Other people write the script and I direct it.
Okay.
Tristan, I know you're writing a feature now, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I'm like very early stages of developing the idea at the moment. With shorts, it's. How do you mean, Paul? How does it start? Like, what do I have when I start, or at what point do I start?
I suppose, like the genesis of the idea, how that comes to you, and then practically how you put that into practice, I guess, or how it manifests itself onto a computer screen. Like, are you just constantly sitting by a Parisian cafe, watching life go by, smoking a cigarette, waiting for inspiration?
Never, no. They've all came very organically. Or organically, where I've never sat down and said I'm going to make a film about this topic. It's been something that's happened, or I've seen, or a story I've read. And like Heanue was a paragraph I'd written from, it was 2015. I wrote a little paragraph in a thing about this thing that I saw in a hospital, and it stayed there till 2017 when Heanue opened the thing, and you had to submit a paragraph idea, and I sent this paragraph, and that's how that started, the idea. And then I just I work it in my head until I can see the whole thing, like start to finish, the end thing. I'll work it in my head, like lying in bed at night, playing it scene by scene. And then when I think I know start, middle, and end roughly, I'll start a draft, and I'll just blast the draft in like a couple of days, and then I'll start getting a first draft, then I'll send it out to a couple of people, and then I'll continue the process. Is it
hell, or is it enjoyable, or is
hell.
It enjoyable?
Yeah, it's really, really tough, I find, writing. Sometimes you're like walking around and it feels like you can't focus on anything, or that you can't really enjoy anything else because you've got this thing in your head that's not working, and you can't. And sometimes you could have two things you're working on, and they're both not working, and you're just like, you can't, you're just like sitting around. And my girlfriend will say, what are you thinking about? I'll be like at dinner just staring, I'll be just like scripts into like, it's just like, it follows you around. You get to bed at night, you turn off the lights, and you're lying for like 40 minutes playing scenes and turning on the light, writing notes. And then it's like you wake up in the morning, and if you haven't had any productive thoughts before sleep, you wake up depressed. It's like, it can be like that when it's not working. And then when it's working, it can be like you're just, it's the greatest thing when it's working, or ideas are coming, or you think you've cracked it. But when it's not, it's tough. I don't know. Do you guys feel the same? But that's the way it feels sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's funny. I'm just finishing a master's, and basically everybody is like structure. Get your 3 acts, get your 8 sequences, blah blah blah. And I just, for some reason, I can't think that way at all. I need to find a way in, and it's probably a particular character that I think is completely fascinating, or there's a scene that I can't get out of my head, a picture or something that's much more abstract than structure. And I need to use that as my kind of springboard. And then I find my way through, I send the character on a little journey, I flick them off, and then they meet this obstacle, and then they meet this obstacle, and things kind of come out. But then I start reaching major story problems where I'm like, oh my God, so how do they get from here to this person, and why are they going to fall in love? And that I find that really challenging. And that's when you want to give a nightmare. It's like
when you get
story problems. Yeah, and they're very tough.
Yeah.
And you need to have all kinds of tricks to overcome them, which might be just, take a walk or invent a ridiculous scene for them to go into, and then, okay, well, that doesn't make sense, but actually it makes me think about this other scene better, or you've sort of come up with ways to push your imagination in different directions to overcome story problems. That's kind of my experience so far.
I'll chat with people.
Yeah.
Alone, Mia, recently I rang a couple of people and they just start throwing random stuff at me. And I was like, no, that doesn't work. But then like half an hour later, I was like, it opened up a door in my head that I was too shut off. But they threw this ridiculous that I thought at the start, I was like, that's no. I was like, that's nonsense.
Yeah.
But it opened avenues. And I was like, but what if maybe, and like, yeah,
It's
calling
so good.
people sometimes.
Yeah, it's so good. I did a masterclass with Paul Schrader a couple of years ago, and he said that what he does is he'll ask someone on the street, can I buy you a coffee or can I buy you a pint? And he's like, I just want to tell you a story, 20 minutes, and it'll be the price of the coffee. And then judging on their reaction, he knows if the story's working or not. And I mean, it's a bit ballsy to ask randomers, but it's the same thing, you know, it's the same premise.
Especially
like,
when you're trying to keep social distance.
Yeah, maybe not now, maybe after lockdown. But like certainly my boyfriend and crap, you know, I could talk the same ideas and the same people in my head, and you know, you drive him nuts. Like we have a little writers
You need to
group.
pick the same thing.
Oh, totally. And it's all in your head as well. It's like it's not even real people doing real stuff, it's people in your head. But yeah, bouncing off people is
Shaun,
Okay,
as a writer or as a director who works with writers, sorry, Paul, as a director who works with writers, how do you approach that? I guess I know you have certain writers that you work with, but why, like, how do you approach giving notes?
I suppose I've been really lucky in that I've worked with kind of fairly consistently, like great writers in every all the stuff I've worked on. But I really, really enjoy the process of like going through a script with somebody and kind of like bringing what I hope is a more kind of like cinematic approach to it, like, or like kind of doing that thing where you're kind of bouncing ideas off each other and like seeing what can be whittled down, like, or, you know, is this like, has this beat been kind of like said before in the short or in the piece or whatever, and kind of refining it together down to something that's more, you know, that's better because of the kind of like almost that kind of clash between like the writer and the director. With that said, I did attempt to write a feature script over the last couple of months while in lockdown, and my goodness, it is an absolute, it's a beast, and it is it's absolutely, but it's like that thing of like the more I work in film, like it's just like, it's like opening a door into a room and going, oh my god, look at the size of that, like, you know, every bit of the art like that you kind of explore, you see like it's just like this kind of vast kind of structure unto itself, and you start to appreciate like even just the basics of screenwriting, like, which I'm sure I know you both guys are very familiar with, like, but just the basic things of kind of like act structure, like, and like character development, and then when you see it done properly in a film, it's magical, like, you know. Yeah.
That, I guess that has a lot to do with expectations we place on ourselves as well, you know. How do you deal with that kind of pressure? Do you, are you kinder now, maybe a little bit, so now that you've been around and all of you have a couple of shorts under your belt, or do you feel a pressure to kick on and do a feature now that will be very, very successful? Or do you just want to go where you're supposed to go?
I think you have to of your mental health, because it's easy to compare yourself to other people and their trajectory of success or their style of filmmaking, or so you have to kind of like, recently what I've told myself is, let's just see how far I can go, as opposed to, you know, I have to get this award or this festival, or I have to make a film that's as good as my favorite director, or because you're setting up these really like kind of destructive tasks or goals for yourself, I think, as opposed to like, how far can I go, or how much can I express my version of the world, or, you know, like, I think you do have to mind your mental health. Like, I definitely got very depressed a couple of years ago, and it was funny because it was after winning several awards in a row, and I should have been like, okay, finally, this is it now, someone's going to notice me or something's going to kick off, and nothing really happened after the awards, and I just kind of plummeted And I hadn't prepared for that, and I didn't have another project ready, and I didn't know, you know, and then I started looking at other people winning awards, and someone did better in one way or someone did better in another way. And so I had to change what I believed in myself and what my expectations of myself were, and take the competitiveness out of it for my own journey as an artist, let's say, who's going to tell stories, because, you know, I'm trying to tell stories that I believe in and that I want to share with other people, and that could be tiny or it could be massive, or I don't know, but it's like, how far can I go, and how much of myself can I put into this? And it's sort of a better headspace then for creating. So it's like there is pressure, and you know what I mentioned earlier, I try and make each thing better than the last. So I am sort of, for myself, trying to compete with myself. But yeah, just I would always try and be careful not to, because it's shit being depressed. It really sucks. It's really hard to do anything. So I'm like, I don't want to go back there. You know, I want to sort of find a way to balance like the journey with my perspective on it, I suppose.
Yeah, that's
I
really
think
good.
I
Sorry.
Sorry, I think
might...
as well that's a really good point. So I mean, I think as well, like for me as well, kind of like going to festivals and like just having stuff screen and seeing like the quality of stuff there as well. Like, and I mean, over the years I was lucky enough to like pick up some awards, and then most years you wouldn't get anything, or and then like just even getting rejection letters from festivals that you might have been kind of, oh, I think this is right for this, and they'd love it, and then you don't even get in. But in a way, that kind of calluses you in a good way against kind of putting too much stock into that side of it, and it just makes you kind of and then sometimes you might make a film, you know, over a weekend with your friends, and it does really well, and it's kind of it's so hard to quantify. But then you stop trying to quantify it and trying to kind of make something to be successful, and you just kind of and then strangely that kind of makes it kind of truer to yourself and truer to your voice. Like, but it took years for me to kind of to reduce that kind of like horrendous disappointment at film festival rejection letters, like, you know, which is
so much rejection.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so much rejection.
God, yeah.
God, yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Did a couple of shorts, the first ones, and they were like relatively successful, you know, for, you know, I hadn't done them before, and it was kind of like, oh, this is, and then I did my third one, and it kind of just like, I'd say 80% of the festivals we submitted it to, it got rejected, you know. That was 2017. And yeah, it was after that, it was like, shit, you know, it was a real kind of like, you know, like when we'd spent so much money putting it out to festivals, and at least 80% of them, if not more, rejected it. And it was like, yeah, it was a moment where going into Heanue, I didn't have a clue. I didn't have any hopes for it pretty much at all. No, but I don't mean like that, but it was just, I just went in very much thinking we had a good script and got the best cast I could that I really wanted. And it was only after we shot it that I knew we had something, because of the actor's performance. I remember talking to my cinematographer afterwards, and we were just like, Christ, the performances. And I knew there was something there, you know, because it was a good script. And then it was like, okay, let's see what it does. But I was happy knowing that we had made something that I liked and that came from a real great team, and it just was such a beautiful few days on set. And so it was like, okay, if they like it, they do. There was no real pressure. And then when it's a success, you know, it's a great feeling. But going forward, I don't think I'll be as tied up about it. You know, of course there's a little bit of pressure, you know, you're kind of like, but I'm more concerned about making something that I'm happy with, and, you know, that I think, yeah, just something that I'm happy with, and not thinking about trying to emulate the success of this one. It's like, you can't do that. I just want to make something that says something important, and that I want to say, and that I like. Yeah.
I might jump in there just and ask you quickly, considering this is a hijack from the Cork Film Festival, all of you have been selected by Cork. How important is the Cork Film Festival, International Film Festival, or festivals of that type of stature, but particularly this one? How important is that to your career? How important is it as a confidence boost, artistically, creatively, all those things? What does it mean? Something like that.
It's a brilliant festival, first of all. Just in terms of the atmosphere of a festival, I think it's got like there's some festivals that are just really good at creating an atmosphere for filmmakers and for people who aren't filmmakers but feel they can get access to filmmakers. And I think Cork does a really nice job of, like, they curate beautifully, so they select really good stuff, but then they also have a great hub. And so just on that level, I guess, because as a filmmaker, you do use festivals for networking. You use it to get a sense of your audience. You know, you use it to get a reflection of your art and see where you're at. So I think Cork does a lot in terms of that. And then I think it's quite recognised as well internationally. So again, if you've got a piece of work on, or if you've won an award at Cork, you know, it's brilliant. Like, it's great on your CV, and, you know, on a personal level, it's a great boost. Yeah, I don't know. Someone should be paying me. Will I keep going? Does anyone want to step in?
Cork. Corky Cork.
Did someone say Cork?
It's a great town. I love town. I love the town. It's great.
And one other little thing, I know the Cork Film Festival are launching, like, oh my God, what's it called? I think it's just called the Cork Film Festival Film Club, and it's on next month.
The film club, yeah.
Right, so they're going to screen loads of stuff. And they're going to screen all their award-winning shorts, I think. I don't know the dates. Does anyone know the dates? Is it the end of July? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure where it is, but we'll link it there. And we will be, for anybody that registered for this event, we'll be giving away tickets for all of the future Cork Film Club events. So keep an eye on the Facebook and social media tomorrow, and we'll be giving those away.
20th of July for the shorts.
There's Fiona now.
Awesome.
Paul, have you anything there before we wrap up that you want to ask?
I guess just let us know about what's kind of happening next for you guys, and but just about what's the hardest thing about making that next step to the feature for you guys?
Writing it. Definitely writing
Shaun?
it.
Well, I'm at the moment we're developing. So the short film that we did last year called The White Horse, we actually made as a proof of concept for a TV show. So we're developing the TV show at the moment, and the writer Paul Cahill is putting scripts and treatments together, and we're developing it together, and with producer Sinead Barry. So at the moment, we're kind of moving towards the TV side of things, like, but I guess kind of the fundamentals of the art are the same, but it's great. It's exciting. It's exciting to kind of have that kind of like basis for something to build on, like, you know, and to have the film as a proof of concept, and move towards the TV show.
Mia, I like your you've got a cinematic thing going on there. It's quite cool.
The sun, the best light. Probably similar to Tristan in that I have to write it. And then I'm gonna direct another short drama soon, because I know, like, another reason to make shorts is to kind of prove that you can do it. So, and I've done a lot of docs, so I'm more eligible to make a feature doc than I am to do a feature drama. So I'm doing another short drama, hopefully this year, possibly at the start of next year. Just to show, like, I know what I'm doing and I can do it. Give me the money. It's kind of it.
Yeah, if you're listening, whoever has all the money. Guys, I might just very quickly just backtrack and reiterate that if you'd like to support the Children's Ambulance Service, Bumbulance, it's obviously give what you can. It's donation based. They do incredible work, and this whole initiative over the last weeks that we've been doing this, supporting them. So anything that you can do would be really, really beneficial, and we really appreciate it. Equally, and Mia, we've previous podcast with all of them. Shaun was part of a smaller one at the Kerry Film Festival recently, but But if you'd like to hear a little bit more from everybody else in terms of their journeys up to this point, or up to a year ago or 2 years ago, and about their kind of the genesis of their filmmaking careers, you can check it out on Spotify and on the Head Stuff Podcast Network and wherever you listen to your lovely ear medicine. Thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks,
Pleasure.
guys.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you all.
Hello to everyone from Cork. I see them here, Fiona and Avi and everyone.
Hey,
Thank you, boys.
thanks,
I'd
folks.
encourage everybody, if you're not absolutely zoomed out, if you go to the networking session and you try not to be skeptical of what that is. I mean, it's 3 minutes of your life, on a loop, and you'll get more out of it than you anticipate by doing it. So have a little chat with people, and think of it more as checking in with a neighbour in the filmmaking community in that regard. People really appreciate your time when you do that. A kind word, particularly to people who are starting out, is never forgotten. So try to, if you want to click on that on the left hand side, you'll see it up there.
Network. And that's all, you just click on it and you're in, is it?
You just click on it and you can press, it's like a randomizer, like speed dating, and just say hello to somebody, ask them how they're doing. And it's also helpful to put a face to a name and everything else. So listen, guys, thanks very much.
Chat roulette, but not creepy.
Pretty much, without dick pics or whatever.
Aww.
Thanks, guys. Thanks also to.
Jeez.
Oh no!
You still have actual chat roulette. Just go there.
Thanks to the Cork International Film Festival. We'll be back again in a couple of weeks. We have some incredible people lined up, but we can't announce them just yet. Keep an eye on our social networks and on our website, www.wearefni, for more information. Thanks a million. Namaste. Look after yourselves and stay safe out there. Thanks,
Namaste.
guys.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Good luck. Bye.
So do you just go on, leave. So do you leave and then you jump into networking?
You're stuck here, man. It just says leave. You sure you want to leave? Yeah.
Never leave.
Okay. Leave.
Yeah, I think there's another link if you go.